move on. U.S. President Donald Trump has vowed to go to the Supreme Court following a ruling by a divided U.S. appeals court that declared most of his administration's tariffs illegal. According to reports, the court has allowed the tariffs to remain in place until October 14th, giving the Trump administration time to file an appeal with the Supreme Court. Moreover, the ruling does not affect tariffs imposed under separate legal authorities, such as Trump's tariffs on steel and aluminum imports. Trump has responded to the decision on his Truth Social platform, calling the ruling incorrect and emphasizing that all tariffs remain in effect for now. The decision comes as a legal fight over the independence of the Federal Reserve reportedly also seems bound for the Supreme Court. Now for this discussion, we are joined by Jayjit Bhattacharya. He's an economist and finance expert, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Jayjit, for joining us again. Good to see you. Now, how might the Supreme Court's eventual ruling on the legality of Trump administration tariffs impact U.S. trade policy and also international economic relations?
Trump's premise of turning around the U.S. economy as per his vision was to basically use tariffs as an instrument to do the change that he thought is important for the U.S. economy. And therefore, he started using the application of tariffs in a very aggressive manner, and we have seen the repercussion of that. As per the US judiciary, it seems that he did not have the power to do what he did. Now, in another case, which is similar, where the Supreme Court actually acknowledged that the president can run the country using executive orders, that has been upheld, which itself was a bit shocking to those who are observing the US from outside. But on a similar case, which is a tariff case, where again the president had invoked financial emergency to raise the tariffs that he raised, had been shot down in the lower courts and then shot down in the judiciary subsequently also, and it's on its way to the Supreme Court. And it seems that there was a consensus, a significant consensus among the judges. Most of the judges agreed that this was stepping out of line in terms of the power that the president wielded. And hence, this is not something that is acceptable. So it is also predicted that most probably the Supreme Court may also agree to what has been already passed earlier by the lower judiciary. And if that happens, there is obviously a repercussion in both the US and the rest of the world. And the repercussions may be more healing in that sense, because the tariffs had been very, very disruptive and has caused a lot of chaos in the business and in the economy, and has led to job loss both within the US and outside. So if the judgment overturns the president's power to impose the tariffs, then it will lead to a healing effect. And then subsequently, the president has to go to the Congress and the Senate to pass appropriate legislations in order to be able to pass the tariffs that he wants to pass.
And Jayjit, in what ways does this legal challenge to tariffs reflect deeper tensions within U.S. governance now, particularly regarding the independence of institutions?
Again, from the outside, it seems that a multitude of U.S. institutions are getting compromised. We have seen pressure on the Fed, which is a very sacrosanct institution, not just for the US, but for the rest of the world, because the trust in the dollar flows through the trust of the Fed as an institution. And if that's getting eroded because of the intervention of the president's office, then clearly there will be an impact on the trust on dollar. And dollar is important for global trade. Similarly, we are seeing the educational institutions being compromised in terms of their autonomy, for whatever that reason may be. But they seem to be coming under tremendous pressure from the US administration to toe a certain line that the US administration feels is correct for the US. And similarly, we see many other such institutions getting compromised, including the institutions of the Senate and the Congress. and therefore that leads to a concern that it might lead to the weakening of US as an institutions-driven economy, and therefore, if the US weakens, that's a very troublesome sign to the rest of the world.
Yes. Thank you very much, Jaijit Bhattacharya, for joining us and sharing that insight throughout our news.